Yeah, SIG Release meeting on Monday, August 5th. Uh, so yeah, I think we wanted to run retrospective, but considering holidays and then people on PTO, probably we should do it next week. But we have already kind of done a retrospective in my view, because we kind of recognized from a release perspective, like what the things that we need to do. We start off creating the document of the release process. Uh, that's one of the deliverables in this thing for us. And also, Rado, I think, like you mentioned, you're already taking some small steps in uh, our release CI/CD process. I think in general too, I think probably based on the documentation that we end up producing, uh, probably we'll do certain automation tasks in the SIG release to alleviate some of the pain that we went through. But it's good. The R3 and whatever we did was the outcome was good because it exposed a few items, so which were existing but not known. Uh, so I think to me that's one of the main retrospective items. But let's wait for the crew to return. Like we want all the folks. We don't have the quorum here. So, and only one other item that I can see in the agenda is the go test image for all local make targets. So it's by Fiacre. He's not here. So I mean, do you know anything about that at all, Reno?
Uh, yeah, the thing is here for every repository that hosts code code in Go, we're running the tests using a Go test name
Yeah.
Docker image. We're producing ourselves and host on a Docker Hub,
Yeah.
which contains various pieces of software. Thing here is in make files, uh, we have this logic that if you run them locally and do like a make test, whatever, it has a hard-coded version of those binaries, which are different from what we have in our CI. So the question arose, what do we do with it? Do we like synchronize the versions, or do we just use the same image? And if so, is it like a pinned version, so we're gonna go like with the release cycle for it, or do we just hit for the latest? The later solution, I'm not really fan of it. The danger here is if we're not leaving any other trace, what was the image version that we ran tests in, we're not really able to say which latest it was, right? So I'm more leaning towards pinned version, and in my opinion, for local testing, we should use the same thing that we did in CI if we want to have the consistent results. But I mean, we're open for other solutions as well. So that's why Fiacra put it on. He actually found out that there's a like a hard coded version in make files. So it is up for discussion. How do we proceed with this? And yeah, that's what this was all about.
So is it like just one or two container images, or multiple images are there?
It's not many.
Okay. So the reason I was asking that question was maybe we can pass it as an argument to pick that image. But if we can see the details, or if when Fiacra comes back and shares, what the problem statement is, it'll be good. Um, it'll help us understand what the issue is. For me, in general, I like all images, container images, to have a tag. It's easy. And if latest is something that we always get it from the main, if it is because of using the main branch, and it is only intermediary, or if it is only like only for a short amount of time, we can still continue to have another make target for running against latest images also. That's also a possibility.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I'm just trying to find the example here. Called maybe. It will be faster the way. Just give me a sec. Sorry, I probably had to prepare this. Okay, so for example, we have like a Golang CI lint version hard coded in this.
Do you mind sharing the screen?
No, I will put this in chat, or maybe I should share this screen would be better. Just a sec. See if I can do this. Okay, is this visible?
Yes.
Yeah, so for example, in Nefio repository, there's a default golint.mk file where you get this Golang CI version hard-coded. This is different from what we're using in a CI in Pro. So the whole logic here is like if it's being run locally, detects if it has Docker or Podman and runs this Golang CI lint image over it with this command. Otherwise, if this command is present and there's no Podman there or Docker or whatever, it will just run the command on the file set. So that's basically what it's doing when you run this in CI. It's doing this. The Golang CI lint is just in whatever version is in our Golang CI. That's the image that we show you. Test infra. So in test infra, we're hosting code for a few images that we use in a CI. One of these is this Go tests. And if you go to Docker file here, you will have like Golang CI somewhere over here. Yeah, Golang CI lint here. So that's one is like 157.2. That one is 157. So
okay. So even that hard-coded thing that you shot, that hard-coded thing that for the Docker file, it can be passed as an argument, right?
It could be, yeah.
I think if you're talking about making sure that lines 26 and 27 can also be parameterized or provided as arguments. I mean, it's been a while that I played with Docker images, but I think you can do that, I guess. You can pass it as an argument. That way, the image that gets built doesn't always have to be 157.2. If it is at some point of time, we need to move it up.
Right.
At least 26 and 27 should actually be instead of changing the name of the file. That should be available.
Part of it was done somewhere around here. Yeah, if you see here. Or like
correct. Arguments. Yes.
Here you have it as argument. So something like this. Yeah, that's true. The thing is like to have this thing uniform across the CI, because if we bump this version here, let's say 160 or whatever there, here it will say 157, and somebody who will run this on let's say their like development environment, laptop, PC, whatever, will not big difference.
Yes.
157 or 157.2, but still there might be the difference, the discrepancy there. So we're wondering if we should just use this image that we're using in CI.
Okay.
Use it here instead of those.
The direct ones. Or the alternative is can we actually have like a source file with all the versions that is consumable both by the make files and also by the CIs.
Yep.
That might be better, right? That way, if somebody wants to, instead of depending on that image, they go depend on the source file, and then you can look to see, hey, this is what one needs to be using both in the CI and in your local development environment.
Right. Yeah, that's also a good point. This file can also be sourced in other.
Yes.
Other,
that might be our release. We can say that, hey, this is what you need to be using for our release. That way, there's one place.
Yeah, that's a good call. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, that's basically what was the issue. At Fiacra. Fiacra mentioned we've put this on the last meeting for this meeting here. Okay, cool. So we can further synchronize this on a Slack. What if somebody has like a different ideas or whatever, and work on this a bit more. All right, I've put also one item here.
Yeah, and that sorry, probably when Fiacre comes, we will take his perspective again.
Yep.
Then, like you said, I agree with your assessment there. Probably we should be uniform whether we are locally or in CI. Yeah.
Yep. Cool. So I also put one other point last meeting. So in owner's file in our repositories here. So for example, let's go to Nepio. So you got like two, as you all are aware, you got like two groups, approvers, reviewers, and so on. There can be also another one called like approvers emeritus or something with emeritus. Anyway, so the thing is, we can take out the people that are no longer for various reasons actively participating in a project. You can take them out of the roster, so they will not be assigned the PRs to review, but they will still be there in a file. So in case somebody wants to, I don't know, reference or contact them or something, and it can of course be taken back to the file here. The thing is, like, for most PRs, the way it works, it's random, but it's like kind of random. So John gets assigned, pretty often, and I bet there is like some notification that goes to whatever he's got configured there, and so I think it's more like the nuisance that we're spamming him with every PR. So I was just thinking if we should think about some like a threshold or how you take what's the procedure to take the person out of this roster, so we're just not assigning to people that are no longer actively involved in a project.
Good suggestion.
Radu, I'm not sure. First of all, yeah, thanks for bringing this up and pretty far, also suggesting a possible solution. I'm on the fence, to be honest with you. I mean, just my first reaction is, should we really do this? Yeah, it's not that our community is very active or very engaging. Then we have too many participants. Makes me think, should we really do this? I would like to hear others' opinion too. But
I think the point he's trying to say is that John is no longer active, right? And the pro automatically assigns the PR to him. and others might not be aware of it. I think that's the
Yeah.
thing I can see.
The folks that we absolutely know, who are
Yeah,
absolutely
correct.
not participating, that's okay. Uh,
Correct.
but I don't know. Does does John look at any of the porch yours at all?
He doesn't have much time for it, but he cares about it. And if we really need him or want him, he can definitely make the time to come and help. I just don't know how much it is, but I don't know. I'm not worried about it. Like in the Apache Software Foundation, once you're a committer for life. It doesn't matter if you stopped contributing. It's like once you're accepted, it's like, okay, you can commit code. I don't see it as being a bother necessarily. He's allowed to approve. It doesn't mean he can approve. We don't have any character limit to this file that we have to worry about.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, on the contrary, I kept arguing that I think we should it shouldn't be a small list. I think anybody who contributes to the project, and yeah, we should give some criteria for contribution, right? What is included in that, but anybody who meets the criteria should be added. Yeah, I've said this a few times, but I don't know. We're collectively the gatekeepers here. So, and this goes into the broader conversation that Liam and others have raised of we're very bad at reviewing PRs, and not just us, right? This is a big open source challenge. The moment you say you need code reviews, well, it needs to happen, right? Yeah, I don't know if this should be included in that, right? But in my opinion, there's no reason to remove people.
Yeah, I think the only problem statement that I got out of this from Rado was like, hey, why does it get assigned to John and Stephen if they're not active? That is the piece. Okay, the contingency for will be we have a win-win situation here, which means we just need to say that, hey, folks, if you see that the 2 active reviewers that it's been assigned to, you're not seeing it, go and assign other reviewers yourself. That will be the contingency. So we can have it both ways. We don't have to remove them.
Yeah. I mean, that is already happening in my view, Wish.
Yeah, it is. It is. Yes, because I have done it many times. Yeah.
Yeah, it's already happening. For example, we intuitively know who are the active players.
Yeah.
Even for Porsche, for example, I'm pretty sure when Liam or Fiacra Tal works on it, they will kind of assign somebody who's more active. So that's why I understand what you're saying. Probably, I think probably we may not need to do anything is what my feeling is at this point of time. So I would like to hear from Wim as well. Wim has raised his hand.
Yeah, so so the way I look at this is follows. First of all, I think this list, we should have more people on this list from my perspective. But in general, I think the principle that I try to follow, right? The person who creates the PR, right? So I think let me first explain how I believe the system works today, right? You create a PR, and if you don't do anything, the system picks, I think, 2 people from this list. In a certain form. I don't know how the algorithm works, but basically picks it, right? Now, typically when you create a PR, I believe the person who creates the PR has the interest to make this eventually happen, right? So in other words, he can change the approvals, right? But also, I think the way I see it, if I get a reviewer or an approver for my PR, and I see no progress, I will raise my voice, right? So I will say, hey, guys, first of all, what I would do is I would say to this, first of all, I would go to the Slack channel or I would reach out to these people to say, can you review it? If not, who do you suggest? What I'm trying to say is that the person in charge of who wrote the PR is in the driving seat, in my view, right? No matter who is on this list, doesn't matter. So, but the person in the driver's seat tries to get his PR through the chain. And if you take that principle, then it doesn't really matter how many people you have here. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, makes sense.
Agreed.
Because I'm of the opinion that the person who writes the PR has an interest to make it happen. So if he or she should be driving the system.
Yeah, that's obvious, but that's assuming that person knows, people here and how it works here. Imagine like you've never been on any meeting, you don't know any of that. You just, for some reason, trying to contribute to Nephew. You create
Yes,
a PR,
yeah.
John and Steven, and it sits there for like 3 weeks or something. So you go to the Slack channel and says, sorry, can you please like review this or something? Somebody can just look at this. I'm not getting any motion on this, and gets in the reply, oh, those guys are no longer the reviewers.
I get that, right? But so we could, for example, rather to mitigate against that, right? What other projects do is they write a contributing guide, right? Where they say, like the principle that we outlined, we can basically write down and say to people, this is your contribution mode of operation that we have. And that is what people should look at when they start contributing to the project, right?
Yeah, that's also a good point. We have to have these documents. Well,
Because for me, that is the important thing. What you see, I mean, I've now been working with other open source, so people ask, okay, how can I contribute, right? You actually have to write it down, in my view, and of course you have to help them. People who are reaching out to say the best is to point them to that document and say, okay, this is how you can do it. And then for example, I believe that certain projects are very open to actually even point to the contributions that are beneficial to the project. So, and if that is of interest to the person, then that's a hit. If not, we have to look for other alternatives. But that's a way you can get other people in the loop, right?
Right. Yeah, and about this list, I mean, it is also subject to PRs, right? So if anyone feels, adding themselves to it, you just create the PR. We've done this with Fiacre and Liam on few repos that they just created the PR to add them to this list. So it's not like I get this feeling that it was something created by SIG Release. So we're kind of like being keepers of this file or something.
No, correct. So, for example, I would say Vish should be on this list, in my view, personally. But I don't know whether he wants to be on the list, but I think he should be. And there might be others just to call someone out. But for me, the list as such, what I'm trying to say is also is that the list as such is not that important if you look to what I'm trying to say.
Understood.
Right? Because at the end of the day, what matters is our guidance to the people outside, and then second is the person that initiates the whole thing, right? Who is in the driving seat to get it done. And I think what we see right now is, for example, and Liam and Fiacre did an amazing job in my view, because they have been like our mentors to a number of things. So they have been, although they haven't been assigned all of the PRs, they have been kind of mentoring or following up on most of them in the last couple of weeks and months. So they have played what I call an Uber role here. Right? But okay, I'll stop.
Yeah, so in this period, if anyone feels, like joining one of these lists, just, please create a PR to do it, and it will be done. It's not like the kept, written in stone list that's not a subject to change.
Okay.
For example, Rado, writing this down, for example, if you want to be an approver of Nephew, here's the process, what you should do to do so, right? Even that could be helpful.
Yeah, and like all the projects, like on app, for example, there is like a detailed contributors guide, and which also mentioned like what are to become. Like, I mean, the wording is different. It's not called like a reviewer there. Don't really remember what it was, but in the same basically spirit, right?
Okay. So to your emeritus question, I think, Rado, and to what Wim answered about the PR author being the driver, do you feel that mitigates the need for having a emeritus? Because the PR author will go ahead and find out that he's not getting much traction from the John or Stephen, but he can go reach out to others. At least that's what I've been doing. I always add like a bunch of people to the review, more than that is in the list. That should solve the problem, right?
Yeah, I mean,
And we need to educate newbies. When the newbies come in, we'll educate them about this. I think the tool itself, it seems like it's trying to spread the load across multiple reviewers. That's what this contribution. I think Pro reads this file, right? I think
yes,
that's how it picks. Yeah. That was the initial purpose, but now it seems like we have a way around it. Like, we just need to tell the PR authors, like, hey, go ahead, just don't limit it to those 2 people. Go and add other reviewers as well to that.
Yeah, it might be that's already happening.
Yeah.
So that's also rather the problem that you described. I would really love to have the problem. Newbies coming and contributing, and that the exact problem that you said, that's the problem we want to have. So in the absence of that, probably I think other thing is, Rado, probably I hope the project reaches a stage where we have this problem that you said, and we need to do that. I don't think we are there yet. So I think, in my view, I think we should just postpone on this idea. It's just a good idea, but I think based on where the project is at this point of time, I don't think we need that.
Okay, just an idea.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea. And I think it's actually problem statement is a valid problem statement. I acknowledge that. It is just that the way we are operating, I think that may not be needed for us at this point of time.
Okay, so there's one outstanding PR here on KPD Backstage plugins related to the job authentication for generating dependable configuration. So anyone wants to have a look at this, I'd be grateful. And that was it, basically, what I had for today.
Okay, this PR, let's see this. Okay, I'll definitely take a look at this, and somebody else too. So. Okay.
I will take a look at it as well, and I'll have a bunch of questions. Even though the PR is simpler, at least for somebody who's looking at KPD Backstage plugins for the first time, I think there's a lot of material that people would like to understand. So I'll probably have some comments in that area.
Yeah, great.
Yeah.
Cool.
So one of the things about PR review in general, I feel, is that having a PR pushed in and getting approved in the much in 30 minutes, I feel is good in some cases, but also having any background information to review a PR, if that gets added in the description initially, that will be great as well, Rado. Or in general, how can somebody help look at a PR? For example, if I were to go pull this PR and test it out, if there's anything I need to test out, if you can add those kind of steps, that will also help. And the reason I ask for this kind of information is that folks who come in new and they want to start contributing, they actually go look at previous PRs. They try to learn from the previous PRs, what has been reviewed, how it was tested, what kind of questions were asked. So that is why I always have been like advocating that, let's keep it open for a 24 or 36 hours so that people can actually ask those questions, and that becomes like a knowledge base for people to actually, the previous PRs, merged PRs can actually be a good one for folks coming up to speed. to be able to review and come up to speed. This is how I did on OpenStack. I used to go look at all the closed PRs, looked at all the comments, and that's how I came up to speed. Otherwise, OpenStack itself is also a beast. So ours is not as huge as that, but it might get there one day. So just trying to share why I always ask for, like, let it be not much right away. Let it be open so that people can ask questions. That is my pitch for it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we made the 2-day rule. Yeah, definitely these things will also help. Yeah, thanks, Vish.
Right? I mean, because if you look at this PR, it's only like 2 lines changes. I can just go and say approve. But if I didn't ask the right questions and get some answers from Rado, for example, last time he said about build ID, I didn't know that it was an environmental variable that Pro has, but that remains there all the time right now for somebody looking at the PR to be able to know that. So
Yeah, cool. Thanks, Vish. Yeah.
Cool. I need to drop off. I think looks like we are at the end of it, even though.
Yeah, I think I was gonna ask. I think Rado. I think that's it about from Rado and me today. Is anybody else has any other questions, topics that we need to discuss? Like I said, we will create the document like Liam suggested, and then collectively, and then we'll take some automation steps in the CI/CD release process for the R4 timeframe. We'll do a few things. As part of the SIG, and where Rado has already started taking steps in that direction. So, anything else that we need to discuss? Cool, cool. Rado, do you think we can end this meeting?
Yeah, that was all from my side.
Okay, cool. Okay, thanks everyone. And then we'll see you on the next one. Take care.
Thanks, guys.
Bye. Yeah, thanks, Rado.